16. And it's not sweet, but that is the number of legal actions filed to keep Trump off state ballots in 2024. Now, I'm actually surprised that number's not higher, frankly, given what we've seen. But suffering from Trump derangement syndrome and a deep, deep anxiety about Biden's mental and physical state, some are even willing to jettison the Constitution, as in your right to protest.
We live under the rule of law in this country, and it's imperative that all Americans accept the decisions of our courts, including the Supreme Court of the United States. It is not an option in the United States of America to protest in the streets decisions of our courts, state or federal.
Look at the people react. They're like, what did you just say? Since when? Because we know that they love it when certain people take to the streets. The BLM peaceful protests, they were lovely. And the uproar over the Dobbs decision.
Burn it down! If we don't get it, burn it down!
Burn it down, they were saying. Joining us now to explain the implications of gutting the right to free assembly, free expression, Jonathan Turley, professor of law at GW and a Fox News contributor. Professor, these comments weren't from some random lawyer in town. These were from a former, well-respected conservative judge on the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals.
Well, you hear this type of exaggerated claim with a lot of folks in this superheated environment. You have members of Congress, for example, that have said that hate speech is not protected. It is protected. Hate crimes are not protected, but hate speech is. It's hateful. We all denounce it. But the First Amendment is there to protect unpopular speech, even speech that we may condemn. But there is nothing new to this, right? You have Democrats who are now literally running for office on the pledge of censorship. I mean, think about that, right? You have people running for office pledging to citizens that they will reduce their constitutional rights. That's what we have reached as a country. Now, in the end, I think there's enough of us in this country to hold the line, to say that that's not what defines us. What defines us are these common rights, these values. And that means that we often defend others that we disagree with. We don't censor them. We don't arrest them.
Well, I think what we've seen is a panic has set in, because everything they've done, from calling Trump Hitler or Pol Pot or Stalin, whatever the latest is, or saying he's the big threat to democracy, yet the boomerang is thrown by them. They're throwing this claim out at Trump, and then it's coming back and hitting them because they don't seem to really want to trust the voters next year, Jonathan. They do not trust what the outcome of the election will be if it's just let to go.
Well, Laura, the best way to be a defender of democracy is to actually practice democracy, to actually support it, to say that citizens need to go to the polls and to argue that they shouldn't vote for Donald Trump or should not vote for Joe Biden. That's democracy in action. But instead, you have 4 justices of the Colorado Supreme Court that want to prevent millions of people from voting for what is currently the leading candidate for the presidency. But you also have people like the New York Times editor that recently said that anyone who questions this ruling is standing with Confederates. So you're not standing with the Constitution, you're standing with the Confederacy. And it's that type of overheated rhetoric that we all have to be unified in condemning. There were 3 Democratic justices in Colorado that refused to sign on to this. This was the first successful major ruling. Those earlier rulings were also rejected by many Democrats. So there's more unity here than people suggest, but what they hear in this cacophony, particularly on some other networks, is this sort of false narrative. These viewers are hearing that this is a slam dunk, that it's unassailable, that it's clear that he could be taken from this ballot. And and you can understand why those voters get angry when they hear from the courts, no, this is a bridge too far for a democracy.
Now, a quick reaction here, Jonathan. The special prosecutor, Jack Smith, he's frantically appealing to the Supreme Court, urging them not to waste any time in taking up the question of President Trump's immunity argument, writing this afternoon, the special counsel insisting that the resolution of the question presented is pivotal to whether the former president himself will stand trial. The public interest in a prompt resolution favors an immediate definitive decision. The charges here are of the utmost gravity. They want this done, and if they can, it seems to be at least, they want him in jail before the election. How do you see this?
Well, you're very familiar with this court, of course, and the question is whether the Supreme Court itself will share this sense of urgency. You know, Smith has pulled out all the stops to make sure that he can try and, in his view, hopefully convict Trump before the election. These justices may not see that urgency. Even if you convict Trump, he's still eligible to be president. He can still run and serve, even if you were to convict him. So the question is, why pull the stops on this? Why not stick with regular order and allow the Court of Appeals to rule? So it'll be interesting how the Supreme Court reacts to this. But the more filings we see from Smith, the more we see this absolute priority that he gives to shoehorning this trial just before Super Tuesday. And it sort of flips the policy of the Department of Justice, which for decades has avoided precisely that. They actually don't like trials before elections. They try to avoid that.
Yeah, I would be surprised if the court jumped on this. Professor Turley, have a great Christmas, great holiday.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.